First cause of spiritual sickness is trying to be changed by anything else but the power of Jesus, trying to change yourself, for instance. Key to spiritual health is letting Jesus change you. Verse 24. When an unclean spirit comes out of a person, it roams through waterless places looking for rest, and not finding rest, it says, I will go back to my house. Satan thinks he owns you. He thinks you are his territory. He doesn't like it. He will fight when you surrender your territory to Christ. He will fight for his territory. I'll go back to my house that I came from. Returning, it finds the house swept and put in order. And then it goes and brings in 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they enter and settle down there, and as a result, a person's condition is worse than the first. Here's a picture of somebody who is spiritually unclean. He's experiencing some spiritual oppression. And he knows he needs to change, and so he changes. No mention of Jesus in the change, no mention of Jesus. He doesn't surrender his house to Jesus. He just changes. He doesn't surrender his house to Satan. He doesn't want to say, I want to become Satan. He just wants to be in control of his house. And the demon comes back and sees the condition. The Message paraphrase says it like this. And then it runs out and rounds up 7 other spirits dirtier than itself, and they all move in, whooping it up. That person ends up far worse than if he'd never gotten cleaned up in the first place. That figure 7, the number is a figure for completion. Now he's completely defeated, you see. What's the point? Jesus is saying how you change really does matter. There are powers that can change you that are not of Christ, and they'll leave you off worse than you were at the beginning. You don't feel good. You feel bad. You're depressed. I know what I'll do to feel better. I'll drink. I'll do drugs, party, whatever. And it's like 7 worse demons. You're worse off at the end than you were at the beginning. You're feeling weak. Lash out. Get angry. Intimidate. And it works maybe for a short time, but it destroys your character. 7 worse demons. C.S. Lewis said pride can often be used to beat down the simpler vices. Teachers, parents, think about this, by the way, and how you raise your children. It's what the world does. Teachers, in fact, often appeal to a boy's pride, or as they call it, his self-respect, to make him behave decently. Many a man has overcome cowardice or lust or ill temper by learning to think that these things are beneath his dignity. That is pride. The devil laughs. He's perfectly content to see you becoming chaste and brave and self-controlled, provided all the time he is setting you up for the dictatorship of pride. 7 worse demons. This is why it is so dangerous to be changed by religious commitments, by religious legalism, behavior. People will change. It's like, okay, I'm going to do the right thing because I'm a really good person and I'm religious. And you see, and what happens? People just become arrogant. It's not because they're broken. It's not because they love Jesus. It's not because they're overwhelmed by Jesus' grace and love. It's just because they're going to be good people, and as a result, they feel like superior people. And the world doesn't like Christians because Christians go around acting like they are superior, rather than they're saved by the grace of one who loves us infinitely. The medication is worse than the disease. You can conquer alcoholism by willpower and develop a judgmental spirit. 7 worse demons. You can overcome your insecurity by being a workaholic. As a result, you succeed. You feel secure in your success. Other people praise you. It builds your pride. 7 worse demons. You don't even see it because it's working for you. You pride yourself in getting along with everybody. But you get along with everybody by hiding your light, the light of Christ, under a bushel, under a basket. You chameleon, you don't follow Christ. You don't stand up for Christ in other places. And people get along with you as you've compromised your character. 7 worse demons. Jesus says it is possible to get short-term wins on your own. You can clean up your house without me, and it'll feel good. But unless the Lord cleans up the house, those who clean up the house in vain. Here's the question as I really wrestled with this. How would you know the difference? How would I know the difference? How do you know the difference between you changing you and Jesus changing you? There's no simple formula. I think it begins with humility. It begins with a sense of brokenness. It continues with a sense of dependence on God for his goodness and desire to be closer to him. It results in humility. It results in greater empathy for other people, in greater appreciation for other people's struggle with sin, not looking down on them because they still struggle. I don't know I know it ends up in greater desire to worship God, closeness to God. I'm reading a book. It was first published in 1859. I like to get the latest books. It was on the Welsh revivals. And basically what it is a collection of essays that people wrote, reports people wrote about God creating revivals in their towns and in their churches. I went through and just kind of randomly selected a few of those. The whole book is filled with this. Somebody said, the Lord has graciously visited our small church. The old members are quite overcome with joy, and the new souls flock into the church. It doesn't matter what day you come. The Sabbath, they meant, this was their way of saying Sunday, or a weekday. Every day is Sabbath to us now. The people cannot think of doing anything but feed their cattle and attend prayer meetings. That's Holy Spirit change. You don't come to church because it's Sunday, because I want to worship Christ. I want to be together with other Christians. It's a change of heart that drives you to worship. Another wrote, a remarkable character presented himself. According to his own account, he had been a ringleader in the devil's army and had passed the last 20 years of his life without a ray of hope or light. Since his change, he has been zealous in the service of a new master. He goes from house to house to reason with old companions respecting the folly of sin. On one occasion, he met two young men who had been his associates in wickedness, and immediately addressed them on their sinfulness and danger of the life that they led. At first, these men were inclined to laugh, but his earnestness overcame them, and they wept. I can't think of the last time I shared Christ with somebody and they wept. Holy Spirit. He took out his Bible and read and prayed on the spot. The young men testified that they felt like they had never felt before. The conversion of this man has produced a sensation in our neighborhood. He's just a farmer, 40 years of age. Another person wrote, some of the most unlikely people have been converted. They appear to be thoroughly changed. You don't look at that and say, I wonder who changed them. You look at that and say, that's what the Holy Spirit does. Do you see this is really a challenging thing for me, for all of us. Do you see how the Holy Spirit has changed your life? Or are you just a good person because you follow the rules? You know, I can be so up here and read the Bible from so up here. It's like, oh Lord, I don't just want to follow you because it's smart. I want to follow you and love you and you be changed because your Holy Spirit is strong. There's not a formula to it, but I know it results in boldness. It results in a greater desire to pray and to worship. Jesus says there are two strong forces at work in this world. There is a strong man and a stronger man, and it is possible for you to change without Jesus. But whoever changes you owns you. I've not come into the world to help you be a better person. I've come to fill your life.